Tonight the black man feeling to party. Tonight the black man feeling to jam, 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 jam. I wonder if Stalin know what is called jam now. Welcome to episode 190 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. Welcome to all the new listeners. This is the kind of tune that is end podcast with it. But I'm in a mood. It's also not the kind of tune you could stop, right? So for all the people who say they had enough music last week, guess what's gonna happen now?
Lazy worries by the doorsteps.
For that tonight we have no time. We go deal with that tomorrow.
Tonight we going out and line.
We go do a little soca.
We go do a little grind. We go do a little back. And show them young self how to wine. Tonight the black man feeling the party. Tonight the black man feeling the
jam, 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 jam.
Tonight the black man just feel the boogie woogie. Come on, hold on to your mark and let me do a little
If you're wondering where this song come from, right? We're celebrating World Steelband Day. And if you're wondering what this had to do with Steelband, stay tuned.
Remember when we was
coating and all, like painting.
Before we had this family. Anyway, Joey played. Two people short to be there was we.
Well, you know who's Joey?
But since we start having children, to make them strong, we give dance up. So tonight, my darling, we turning back the hands of the clock.
For all the pan enthusiasts and all the pan historians, one thing I tell you, when it comes to planning an episode with pan, right? Excuse my minute, the black style and the great Leroy Callis. I'm not even so sure if it's late or no, it's just great. But the pan people, you could make mistake with Kaiso. You could plan out what you had to say about that and make a little mistake. You could make mistake with the news and call wrong name and thing like I accustomed doing, and you ain't research enough and clean that up next week. But let me tell you something. When you're talking to these pan people, you have to come correct. I don't know why people who enter Pan has such good memory. Maybe because all of them is play I wrote, you know what I mean? They remember the notes and things. They say, too much of Pan man can read too much of music back in the day, you know, so they've gone, they remember. So because of that, the memory must be good. But Black Man Feeling to Party, played by Renegades in the year 2023. 2023. It wasn't in the year it came out in Panorama, but arranged by Duran Stewart in 2023. This is when, after the years where it free up and you could play any song, right? I guess men fall short of Pan tune to play, so they decide they go play Pan from songs from any era. So this is as recent as 2023. Black Man Feeling to Party. You know what I mean? History. So the music this episode will be Panorama winners. I have quite a few of them. It's hard to choose. And I don't want to call it like the greatest songs that win Panorama over the years. I would just call it some of my favorite songs that win Panorama over the years. I could do that without anybody being overly upset with me. So I could come here and play dozens and dozens and dozens of Pan tune, right? Because if it's a Pan episode, it have some names that you expect to hear, right? You expect to hear a whole lot of DeFosto, a whole lot of Kitchener. I have some of them line up, you know. But I want you to know that I also have some of these line up. I wonder if Ultimate Rejects know what walk them mean these days. You know what I mean? Salute. Welcome back. We here. We celebrated International Steelband Day. Let me read from the Newsday here, straight out the gate, right? Newsday said grand festivities for World Steelband Day. And I want to apologize in advance, right? For all the Pan people, they're serious about life, right? Playing whole Pan arrangements that last in 75 minutes on the podcast doesn't make for the best set of listening, right? I'm just putting it out there as to why I'm playing the record versions of these songs and not the Pan versions, right? So all you excuse me, forgive me, pardon me, whatever excuse I had to ask for asking for it. I'm playing the records of these songs, right? I'm playing the record. You know what I mean? The Pan songs. And I want to say as well that if you had to depend on the recorded Pan songs that is studio quality to play, you're in some trouble too. If you play the YouTube live version of those songs that are great, again, apologies, but I just gonna stick to my favorite. So it's just my favorite Pan songs, right? So in case you're wondering, with all that hold them and walk them, easily one of the biggest songs that ever passed through the Carnival, right? But for some reason, people seem to forget that these men sweep everything that year. They win Young Kings, they win Soca Monarch, they win Groovy. So I don't know, I can't remember exactly what they win, but I know they win the I know they won the Road March, as well as Soca Monarch, if I'm not mistaken. 2017 had a Soca Monarch, but they definitely win Panorama, played by All Stars, arranged by Leon Smooth Edwards. in the year 2017. So I just gained only a few of my favorite selections that were played over the years for the steel pan, for the panorama, if all you don't mind, right? If all you don't mind. I will play some up-to-date ones, but you know you're going to get 1960 something in the mix, right? Because how we going to do it without that? But it's officially declared by the UN on July 24, 2023, which we celebrated here last year. So I can't let it pass and not do nothing with it, right? Trinidad and Tobago's national instrument will be celebrated under the theme From Roots to Recognition, Steel Pan's Journey to Global Acclaim. And it's important that while we fight for the national steel, or the World Steel Pan Day, or the work was done for us to get that kind of recognition, we must do the work to ensure that the mecca of steel pan, the one and only originators of steel pan, creators, inventors, you know what I mean? We had to make sure that we have the signature celebration, procession, recognition, whatever it is. We must never let that drop. We mustn't let nobody else, anybody who wants to do anything with pan must come here for World Steel Pan Day. And again, another opportunity for me. You know, I always come in and talk about the revenue and the opportunities that Carnival creates as a business in Trinidad and Tobago, right? This World Steel Pan Day could well become another one of those festivals that we get Carnival-like numbers coming into the country to spend US-like dollars, right? Or wherever dollars all they come from. Again, making this, I'm not sure if this will evolve into competitions like Panorama, but it's certainly a space where we could get people to travel and bring their pan side from all about and recognize not just from roots to recognition, but sometimes we could recognize things like how far the steel pan reached to bring steel pan from Japan and Sweden and Switzerland and Australia. We could have the Olympics of steel pan right here. It's just a sort, right? So starting at noon, the day's activities will, I read it in past tense, right? Starting at noon, the day's activities will feature a grand procession from the called the Ancestral Walk at the birthplace of the steel pan in East Port of Spain. The day's festivities will move through the streets and feature performances from 11 single bands from various regions throughout Trinidad and Tobago. The bands expected to play Spree Simon Harmonics, Unistar Steel Orchestra, Nostrum Symphony Steel Orchestra, La Famille United Steel Orchestra, Quadmasters, San Juan East Quadmasters, not from Laventry, Sawa East Side Symphony Steel Orchestra, Sawa All-Star, the whole thing is Sawa All-Star Steel Orchestra, Pan Elite Steel Orchestra, La Romaine Super Vibe Steel Orchestra, Jarroot Steel Band, and the Pan Angel Steel Orchestra. I'm a reading song. At 5 p.m., the final event will be held at Woolford Square. The festival will welcome pan enthusiasts from around the world and video performances from international. Alrighty, fellas, ahead of me. We get video performances from international countries. Next time, I want us to welcome international countries here. Let them bring their pan side. That is the kind of tourism we need. If man could travel and make a day with javelin, shot put, all them things have to go on plane and know why all these steel pan and them can't go on the plane and we make it into our day. Pan Trinbago in a media release said this international participation will enrich the festival, highlighting the steel pan's global significance and fostering connections between local and international pan communities. Pan Trinbago anticipates the presence of Prime Minister and Tourism, Culture and Arts Minister Randall Mitchell at various events through, the Prime Minister and Randall Mitchell, got you. A formal segment will be held where ministers and other high-ranking officials will have been invited to join the celebrations and so on and so on and so on. So all who went, thanks for going. I remember my mom said she was going to go on thing. I know if she went, you know what I mean? I'm going to talk to her before I record, but we here. I'm telling you now, I'm back in town and I did promise to go some events, but I let it give me time. Rain was falling and I will get closer to it. They said that they will have performances, or they had performances by National Steel Symphony Orchestra, Panasonic Connection Steel Orchestra, that is one person, Massey Trinidad Steel Orchestra, BP Renegade Steel Orchestra, Pan Elders Steel Orchestra, Shell Invaders Steel Orchestra, Republic Bank Exodus, and Desperados. You know what I mean? I would call myself a very casual supporter of Pan. I will say that Despas is my favorite pan side, right? I've always been in love with Desperados. I like Desperados a long time. And what make me really like Desperados is my cousin, Wayne Ian Barney Shepherd, Bob. It's who a man, he was a fella I grew up with, my cousin who liked pan. He was a lover of pan in the household and make me start to understand the intricacies. Them days when I was listening to pan small, it just sounded like noise. I couldn't tell the different types of instruments apart, and I couldn't, it was too much of, what they call it, syncopation and too much of harmonication, and I just couldn't understand it. But he make me start to appreciate pan music. And one of the things that I started appreciating more was classical versions of pan, a competition that they used to call Pan in the 21st Century. And when I listen to pan playing, I suppose for me in my untrained ear, and we call it immature ear and immature hearing, what attracted me to it is the fact that it was played slower. I guess classical music a little slower, so you could take it in at a different pace than the tempo that would come with playing soca or calypso on pan, right? And when I hear Desperados playing, that was something I fell in love with at the time. It's something that I guess a part of me never knew pan could play all types of music. So I was enamored with that, and I fell in love with Desper since back then. You know what I mean? But in celebration, and I tell you, going back all the way, right? In celebration of International Steelband Day, I had to go back to the year that the panorama competition was started, right? 1963. All I was doing in 1963. Nothing good for some of you who listening to this podcast. Nothing good was happening in 63. But this was the first panorama competition, and it was won by North Stars. And the song that was played by North Stars is A Man by Sparrow. You know this fella? Now this a tune you had to listen, right? You had to listen lyrics here, right? Proper kaiso.
According to the education you get when you're small, you will grow up with true ambition and respect from one and all. But in my days in school, yes, they teach me like a fool. The things they teach me, I should be a block-headed mule.
I'm far from that.
They tell me pussy has finished his work long ago, and now he resting and ting. Solomon Gandhi was born on a Monday, the ass in the lion's den. Winking, blinking and nod, sail off in a wooden sloop. The goatee lose the tail and the alligator fighting to make monkey liver soup. And Dan is the man in the van. The poems and the lessons they write and send from England impress me. They were trying to cultivate comedians. Comic books made more sense. You know it is fictitious without pretense. Cartridge wanted to keep us in ignorance. Tell me if this ain't stupidness. Humpy Dumpy sat on a wall.
Humpy Dumpy didn't fall.
Goosey, goosey, gander.
Where shall I wander?
Ding dong dell.
Pussy in a well. Dan is the man in the van.
I said Cartridge was plenty times more advanced than them scientists. Believe that no one man could write so much stupidness. Aeroplanes didn't come so soon. Scientists used to make the grading balloon. Cartridge make a cow jump over the moon. And then he tell them, Tom, Tom, the piper's son, thief a pig and away he ran. Once there was a woman who lived in a shoe.
She had so many children, she didn't know what to do.
Dickory, a dickory, duck. The mouse ran up the clock. The lion and the mouse, a woman pushing a cow to eat grass on top of a house. Mama Dan is the man in the van. Let's see, Mama. How I happen to get some education, my friends. Me and no. All they teach me is about bear, rabbit, and Rumpelstiltskin. They wanted to keep me down indeed. They tried their best but didn't succeed. You see, my head was down to see and up to now I can't read. Who cares about Peter? Peter was a pumpkin eater. Some little people tie Gulliver. When I was sick and lay abed, I had 2 pillows at my head. The goose laid the golden egg. The spider catch a fly. Morocco with wings flapping in the sky. They beat me like a dog to learn that in school. If my head was right, I would have be a damn fool. With Dan is the man in the van. Can a pig dance a jig for a fig? Twirly and twisty were 2 screws. Mr. Mike goes to school on a bike. Dan is the man in the van. Dan is the man in the van.
And Dan is the man in the van. All you know is Cartridge. Cartridge, you remember the name Cartridge? So again, the first panorama winner. Mighty Sparrow, played by North Stars. Let me get this right for the pan people. Arranged by Anthony Williams, right? Anthony Williams. Dan is the man in the van. First ever panorama winner. He come first and second that year. Sparrow, North Stars come first. Sundowner beat Harry and Mama. It's another Sparrow song. You come first and second, and Kitchener ride the third. It hardly ever a year where you go through the first string and Kitchener not in the first string. I want to say that they also have years where Kitchener composition, Kitchener song win first, second, and third. I have 2 to play for you. One where you win first, second, and third, and one where I love where you win first and second. But back to Sparrow and Cartridge, right? Anybody remember Cartridge? Because you see, sometimes this episode thing in this podcast is like a pendulum. It has to swing from side to side, right? You see, when you play so much at Cartel last week, you know when you come back this week, it could be Dan is the man in the van. We gotta keep the balance. Cartridge is the man who writes a book that some of us might know well, some better than others, by the name of West Indian Reader. Anybody remember the West Indian Reader? What color the book was? People might remember these things now. I trying to understand now if what age that cut off. Because I remember when I was going to school, I had to carry a West Indian Reader to school, right? Along with a student companion and all these things. And while Sparrow knock it, West Indian Reader responsible for plenty of our education. And that's what this song was about. Again, the calypso so pointed to the times it's in, right? That the man basically making a complaint to say, hey, all the foreign-minded me with this Dan is the man in the van. They're teaching nonsense in this book. And one of the things that I always wondered about like the whole school education thing, right, was that, well, first of all, the idea of a West Indian reader, and we reading a lot of stories that not particularly with winking, blinking, and nod, still up on a wooden stoop. Me, no was no stoop and all them kind of thing, winking, blinking, and nod. And when you hear these things that they teach us, you wonder how come we don't respect our own poets, our own authors. It take me till almost midway through Fatima to hear about a man named Samuel Selvon. Like, how come they wasn't using our own thing, like our own authors, and just so that we tell our own stories. Salute to the Brooklyn Caribbean Literary Festival. Salute to Marsha and the squad over there. You know what I mean? We're putting it at the forefront where we must know our own stories. I only know my regular complaints about things like English literature, with too much of henceforth and wherefore and who fought and who come forth. Well, Olympics are who come forth. I mean, that was not inspiring in any way. I suppose it do the trick in terms of us. I mean, we turn out all right? Regardless of what you want to say, we turn out kind of okay in life. But I just feel as if Well, and this generation will change things. These youths now, they have a better way of looking at things. And at least some of us who in this space here, what I call the transition space, right? Anyway, I mean, between, like anywhere between 35 and late 40s, 50s, you're in a space that are the bridge gap between generations. But I think we're running our leg to make sure that our own stories are told, you know what I mean? So that we pass it on to these youths who might have never see a West Indian reader, and they can't connect the dots between the two. Sometimes you can't throw the baby with the bathwater to it, but Dan is the man in the van, you know what I mean? You can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with that. So one of the complaints I saw coming out of the World Steelband Day was from Dominic Kalipersad, right? Dominic Kalipersad is somebody you would know that I respect a lot. I think he does a lot for the image of the media in Trinidad and Tobago, the image of social media in Trinidad. He's still on I-95.5 in the morning. The coup now passed there, and we'll all remember the role he played in the coup. And for him to have such an instrumental role up to today, and no place more for our generation at least than the things he does on Instagram and on social media, where, I mean, on a weekly basis, he posts just random things about the history of Trinidad and Tobago and things that some of us might know, some might know, but he keeping us at the forefront. And he always had to remember it's that people who now born and people who I know open, so they're now getting this information, including me. And he provides a platform where you could just learn about that. If you ask him questions in the comments, he will respond and that type of thing too. So as for somebody who lived through it, and he provided education and shining light on things that he wouldn't even live through. The things would be long before Dominic Kalipersad. But it is commendable of him to pick up that space. So when he speaks, we had to listen, right? And one of the things that he was saying, this is my words now, right? He basically saying that we French Creoling up the whole Pan celebration. He say World Steelband Day, and he found that there was not enough done in the celebrations to pay homage to where the steel pan came from. And he said the steel pan movement was a grassroots movement, but the celebration of it looking a little French Creole. There's some of that I agree with and some of it I don't agree with, right? Because I have a difficulty with holding on to things too tight. If the grassroots create something and the grassroots try to hold on to the thing and not spread it, it is limiting the growth or stifling the growth of the thing. So I think we must always see steel pan as a Trinbagonian thing and a West Indian thing and a world thing. You know what I mean? I always make the complaint that you pick up a guitar, the Venezuela make a quatrain like that. Any quatrain you pick up any way you could play, any guitar you pick up is a standard way to string a guitar and to tune a guitar. And we're struggling a lot with the standardization of steel pan, both from the standpoint of how it laid out and how you play it, how it's manufactured. And we only recently making the moves or have made the moves to make steel pan the official national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago, which we must commend. We had to commend that, right? But we also had to ask, like, how come we know that I would have grew up when I was reading West Indian Reader and Student Companion. I thought steel pan was the national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago. I didn't realize that was unofficial or it was wrong. You know what I mean? I didn't know this at all. So there's so much work to be done with steel pan that the innovators or the inventors or the grassroots. So to get the work done, you need to bring in everybody. It had to be a collective effort, you know what I mean? And so I agree with Dominic Kalipersad, especially because this is really the first celebration. We get the day approved last time. So we call it the second day, right? Inaugural would be last year, this year coming. So they were building it up as a celebration. And I'm sure, and like I always try to treat when I record here, like I always remind myself, as Corey, there's one episode of 10,000. You can't talk about everything in this episode. You can't talk about nothing in this episode. You just have to find the right balance, pour the product, and take the feedback and move on, right? So if we look at this World Steelband Day celebration as one of the 10,000 to come, we might realize that there's a whole grassroots celebration that is to come, you know what I mean? So it can't be that every year we do World Steelband Day, all we do is celebrate the originators and the founders. We must celebrate where it has grown to, where it has come from, the sponsors who was involved in it, government official. I think at some point we have to stop trying to pretend that steel band is not badness too. We had to celebrate the Dr. Rats and them as well, who was bad men, because without bad men and the rivalry associated with steel band and all the cutlass and the bottle and them things, steel band would not be where it is today. You know what I mean? Think of all the bad things you went through in life, and or quote unquote bad things you went through in life. Them things make you as successful as you are today, to do all the things you're doing now and to show up the way you're showing up in the world today. So I think as much as we have a World Steelband Day, we must celebrate all aspects of the pan. And a part of the aspect of the pan where I disagree with the great Mr. Kalipersad a little bit is where the French Creole is part of pan too. Because separated by, and I want to be clear that he did not say French Creole, right? Let me find what the man said, because I butchering up the man words here and might be putting words in his mouth. The thing is, it's recorded, and I can't listen to all that he said now. I think I saw it flashing across Instagram at some point. He was basically saying that it's not looking rootsy, it's not looking like the grassroots, it's looking like the sort of upper echelons again. They are the center of the pan celebration. But I say that they deserve to be there. They've run their race, they've made their contributions, because even if they never hammer out a pan, they certainly support pan, whether it's true. Just going to Panorama, helping push pan on the drag, being a part of it, carrying on the stories, documenting anything. There's so much that it takes to make something into an industry or make a culture that it's not easy to just say, okay, these are the originators and they are the ones who must be recognized at all time. But talking about recognition, I did see as well that before I get to what to say, I'm really excited about playing this one, right? This is the one I was telling you. This is the song I was telling you about, that Lord Kitchen, and I want you to understand how difficult this is to do. In the year 1975, Hatters, Fonclair, and Tokyo, all three of them played the same song. Hatters was arranged by Steve Achaiba. Fonclair was arranged by Rudin and Milton Austin. And Tokyo was arranged by Gerard Belly Charles, right? Hatters, Fonclair, Tokyo. 1 year. All them men play the same song and run 1, 2, 3 in Panorama. And that speaks to, that's one of the feats that show you that is one of the greatest, is one of the greatest composers for steel band. This fellow they call the Lord Kitchener, right? One of the greatest of all time. And coincidentally, according to Mr. Kalipersad, is dedicated to one of the creators or one of the originators or inventors of steel pan. One, two, three. What we had to do is get steel pan in the Olympics, and everyone first could break dance.
Steel band men, yes, you be in pan. But my friend, you won't understand. Has it ever dawned on you who invented the pan? Well, I ask you to join me in offering tribute to this man. Oh, God. Everybody wondering about the steel band style. You like to know? When you get to know, well, it's gonna break your heart. I tell you now, it's founded by one Winston Spree, and this is how he started his first melody. A blessed day in 1939, yes. The genius said he recalled to mind, held on to an old oil drum, beating it with scorn, just a form of skylarking, and there it was, the steel band was born. Oh, God. Everybody wondering about the steel band style. When you get to know, well, it's gonna break your heart. I tell you now, it's founded by one Winston Spree, and this is how he started his first melody. He went along, beating blow by blow. He thought it sung like a piano. This really inspired him to a great extent. So he continued pounding until he formed this new instrument. Oh, come.
Everybody's wondering how the steel band start.
You like to know
When you get to know it, it's gonna break your heart.
I tell you now, it's founded by one Winston Spring, and this is how he started his first melody.
So for the sake of Mr. Kalipersad, we were recognizing the founders, right? But Mr. Kalipersad was recognized in his own way. See here, veteran journalist Dominic Kalipersad receives a National Service Award from the Minister of Youth Development and National Service Foster Cummins for his continuous efforts and dedication to TNT. At left Permanent Secretary, Kalipersad gets National Service Award. Veteran journalist. At the inaugural award ceremony hosted by the Ministry of Youth, let me tell you something, right? All hell breaking loose in these podcast recordings now because I cannot see how much time passed, and I also cannot see where I make mistake to go back and edit. So it is what it is. At the inaugural award ceremony hosted by the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service at the SAPA on July 30th, Kalipersad was recognized for his ongoing contributions to our country, people, and youth. My DNS National Service Award scheme honors individuals and organizations that excel in their efforts to serve their communities or country. So, salute to Foster Cummins for being for recognizing the great one. Salute to the ministry of that long name that the ministry is, My DNS, Ministry of Youth Development and National Service. And congratulations to Mr. Dominic Kalipersad. And if you were to take a stroll over to his Instagram, right, look at the comments and look how well received it is and the fact that everybody finds it to be deserving. Well, if you really have time like me to macro and them kind of thing, I want you to take a little time to go and look at the age groups. Like click on people's profile picture and try to guess the age. And you would notice that his following had to be one of the broadest in Trinidad and Tobago, from the very, very young school-age children to the very, very old school-age adults, right? The very old school. And it's because he engaged in a very fun, short way. The one thing I want to ask Mr. Kalipersad to do, right? And I know it's plenty to ask of a man. You know, maybe the more you do is the more people ask you to do, you know. It has no kind of thanks in this world, you know. But you know what would be great? Because he's on radio on I-95.5. And I keep saying, this is a promise I keep making, right? That I want to reach out to radio stations like 95.5 and them and pro bono. Just turn their episodes into podcasts. Because it ain't easy it ain't hard if I just get it recorded and I could chop that up and take out the ads or put in whatever ads they want, and so that we could listen to some of them things on demand. So anybody know anybody, all you have to help me to, you know. I am man busy and have plenty going on. So when I have these ideas, I need a team. I need a team to help me execute these things. But the people who have great radio programs, John Wayne Benoit, Dominic Kalipersad, and so on and so on and so on, it will be so great to be able to go back and listen to God Bless His Soul, Umbala, and to go back and listen to God Bless His Soul, Gladiator with the Bacchanal itself, or even to go and archive some of the episodes that we hear from Dale and Tony, or even Blaze and JW. You can't hear them together again at all. They're just disposable, that gone. It would be nice to go back and listen to them kind of episodes. But again, salute to the ministry and salute to Dominic Kalipersad for the work that he did. And I believe he is also a national awardee, right? And I have some national awards to talk about, you know, because beyond the pan and beyond the Kaiso and Calypso and thing, two of my favorite artists, one in particular, would have got national awards from their country too, and we must recognize that. But in the sense of recognition, and we done cover 75 already, we must go to 76 and play what I believe to be one of my favorite Despas. Despas had one panorama before, but this had to be one of my favorite Despas arrangements and the way they play it and all that. But of course, arranged by the great Clive Bradley, 1976. Who else you think would have sing it?
the brass band will be wailing on the big day, while the steel bands harmonizing in their own way. As they play loud syncopating, and the large crowd celebrating, calling mass, this is band of class.
When the steel band play on carnival day,
hear the rhythm, love the rhythm, make you feel to jump up.
so you start to sway, then you break away.
It's a feeling so exciting, when you start you can't stop.
Ding-a-ling,
Ding-a-ling-a-ling, ding.
that's a bit of the iron. We raise our hands and we jump and we singing merrily, band in harmony.
If you pass by Salvatore, Juve morning, man, you hear back until you giddy, they ain't joking. Their rendition is excellent, with a new form of arrangement. Shake your waist, sweet band in the place.
When the steel band play on carnival day,
Hear the rhythm, love the rhythm, make you feel to jump up.
so you start to sway, then you break away.
It's a feeling so exciting, when you start you can't stop.
Ding-a-ling,
Ding-a-ling-a-ling, ding.
that's a bit of the iron. We raise our hands and we jump and we singing merrily, band in harmony.
Orders distinctions for Bounty Killer and Beanie Man in Jamaica. If we're talking awardees, let me talk awardees now. And we spent some time talking about Bounty Killer last visit to Trinidad and Tobago, right? Which Trinidad and Tobago is embarrassed with sometimes because I'm not understanding where we have this mentality. I don't know what to call it. Like, I had the pleasure of doing a master's class in Guyana, right? The Nations University. Salute to the University of the Nations in Market Street, Guyana, right? Salute to them. Been a while since I've been to Guyana. Like, call me back. I'm looking for any lecturing gigs I get to know. But one of the things I was interested in that class in Guyana was discussing. The class was on globalization, right? And when you're doing a globalization class in a business degree, a big part of the discussion is about what it takes to do business internationally, right? And one of the issues with international business is, firstly, you need to get your product from here to there, or you need to get your service from here to there, right? So the bigger companies who operate, like we talked about Angostura last week and moving to China, that's the kind of thing we would discuss in our class on internationalization or globalization on one of them topics, right? Because it may seem simple to just sell your products abroad, but keep in mind that when you have to figure out how you're going to get to there. And they have many what you call modes of entry, right? So you could export your product to the country. You could form a joint venture with somebody in China and you and them make a company and they bring it in, because China may not be an easy country to export to, because everybody had the export laws. They might say certain level of alcohol can't come in for Angostura product. They might say, well, we don't sell rum here at all for religious reasons. Remember the Qatar Olympics? So several Qatar Olympics. What is called it in Qatar? Again, the World Cup, right? So, international business is a study in a most business degrees because of these things. And I will say that how you get your product to the country, as complicated as that could be and as expensive as that could be, that might be one of the simpler things, because that is what you call it. It's like prescribed. You could go online and find out, okay, what do I have to do? If I want to sell Tulum in the States, I have to get FDA approval. My packaging has to say that I put how much calories and thing, and you send it there, right? That is hard work, but it might be the easiest part, because what you don't understand is the culture in the States could affect how your products sell. The market so could affect how your products sell. The incomes over there, the relative products, like who's your competitors? When you're going to sell Tulum over there, who you're going to compete with? Mars and Snickers and these fellas, like what is your competitive set? And how you're finding the people who are interested in your product, how you're doing market research over there. So you could see where globalization is it could be a complicated project, right? Subject. And if it's complicated in class, I want to tell you, in real life, it's tough. Because imagine you're doing a service now. You want to be an international service provider. Like, you have a hairdressing company like My partner name Joel. Friend. I shouldn't say partner, my friend. Joel. You want to make a regional hairdressing salon like what Bali's and them able to do, or you want to take your gym and make it a regional gym like what Gold's gyms do, or for services now we have a different thing, because service you can send service for people, you can export that. So you have to figure out a way to set up your business in that country, which may be difficult to do. It's not always straightforward. So when you go to talk about these things in our course, one of the things you talk about is regionalization, right? Which is where countries mostly who geographically close to one another, right? So, for instance, North America and South America, USA, Canada, and all them countries in South and Central America, they're on one continent, right? So what you find is that people find ways to form regional agreements. So if you watch at NAFTA, which is stand for North American Free Trade Area, I hope I have some of this right, that would be USA, Canada, and Mexico. And then, for instance, us here in the region, we have several different versions of regional bodies, right? Which the newest and most advanced version of it is CSME, which is Caribbean Single Market Economy. But we would have started just like with our NAFTA. We started with CARIFTA, right? Caribbean Free Trade Area. And the thing with the free trade area is that we, as the name suggests, is free trade. We should not have any restriction to trade between countries who signed to this agreement, right? The difference is like a bilateral agreement is when two countries make an arrangement like that, but in a multilateral or regionalized block, like CARIFTA, we just decide we go trade with one another, right? There are several steps or several advancements of regionalization or coming together, right? Just call it coming together for now. So we come together for the benefit of each other. And a free trade area is one, but then they have something called a common market, right? And a common market, the difference between a free trade area and a common market, I believe, is that we still have the free trade with one another. So products are not supposed to be stopped. You're not supposed to charge no duties on no product, and you're not supposed to stop it from coming in or have no quota and them kind of thing that say, oh, they could only bring one car per person. All them things is quotas, right? I believe the difference with a common market now is that we have that free trade, but we also have what we call a common external tariff, meaning we don't charge one another nothing, and we agree what we're charging people from the outside, so that if we say it's 25% on electronics, anything coming into the country, it makes sense that everybody do the same thing, right? Because I tell you, the West Indians are smart men, So what will happen if you don't have a common external charge is that if I say me and Jamaica could trade free, right? And then I say I discharge 25% to people who bring in TV from outside of the region. If they're bringing it in from the States, you have to pay 25% if it comes into Trinidad. And Jamaica have a law that say any TV coming in here, you have to pay about 200%. Because I'll tell you something, a mistake I make one time. I go on Jamaica and play like I order in TV. I never see charges so on a form yet. It's better I just buy the TV in Jamaica. But if they have such a big gap, if Jamaica charging 200% to bring in TV and Trinidad and charging 25%, what do you think will happen? Jamaicans go bring in the TV to somebody in Trinidad, and then that free trade between Trinidad and Jamaica, so they go just bring it in Trinidad, and then they go send it up the road. I have friends in UWI who make a big business out of this. I have friends in UWI who shall remain unnamed, who used to leave here when it only had B-Mobile and run up the islands and buy cheap phone in Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Guyana, anywhere they could find Digicel and get cheap phone. They buy up all them set of cheap phone, and then they come here and they sell it. Because B-Mobile selling phone too dear. It's selling too expensive. So that idea of regionalization should, and it advances. They have a political union where we have one leader. They have an economic union where we have $1, and so on and so on and so on. So the best example of what you call a full political union is the states, right? Which is, as the name suggests, the United States of America. Each state is on its own, but they have a federal government that's responsible for what happens across the United States. So you might find, this is why you might find that even in their politics, they will discuss state laws separate from federal laws. The federal laws should supersede everything, but each state has their own way of behaving and acting. But you have one government, Trump or Kamala, well, you say, no, I mean, what do it? Biden out of the race. So when I go Guyana to talk about regionalization and to talk about business from that standpoint, a big part of it is international relations and how countries behave towards one another. And the feedback we get consistently from that class, which I agree with them on, is that Trinidad is a difficult place to do business. Because, well, let me take the emotion out of it. Them feel Trinidadians look down on people in Trinidad, and that's what Guyanese, and da. And they get some of that same thing in Barbados, right? Because I went Barbados one time. We trying to be a regional business too, we trying to expand. So we got our opportunity to do some work in Barbados. We were already doing work in Jamaica, if I'm not mistaken. So, of course, the answer is yes, we could do it. And we had a job to do for Sony Ericsson. I think it was with Digicel. And it was some golf course they had in Sandy Lane in Barbados. I with Tiger Woods get married, right? So I trying to get this thing done. Them days are young and high energy, so you had to figure it out. So we get all the promotional material, everything we need to get, them flag sale thing like what Digicel used to put up. We have some of that, all them things. And I pack up a bag to carry Barbados now to do this promotion. And the bag's so heavy. Like, I can't even find something that could fit it. I end up buying a cricket or a hockey bag or something like that. It had no wheels. It's so heavy, I dragging it through the airport with all the things to pong in the ground for them sail banner and pull up banner and all kind of nonsense to do the promotion. Because we're trying to be an international business, right? Again, not as simple as you might think. It's not like just driving to Mokoya and putting up some sale thing in Center Excellence and the promotion done and we get paid, right? So I jump on the plane, throw my cricket bag under the plane, check in, reach Barbados. Bam! When time to pass through immigration, there's 100 different questions about coming to work here and this and that. And I know work permit, I going on a visitor's visa like Plumpy Boss, right? You know what I mean? So I don't understand the dynamics of it. Whatever I had to say, I say and I get through. Barbados is a place where I find it tough to get through, right? If you're storing now right in Barbados, then putting you in a room and sending you back on the next flight. It happened to me before when we had a seminar in Barbados. I had to try to call my father because he in Barbados already. He looking for me. I come to help all the thing, and eventually somebody came out. Probably the same thing. I might have to call somebody from Digicel to verify and all that. I eventually get. Grab my cricket bag now from the little, the bag carousel thing, head to customs. When I go on customs, the man asking, well, where you come here with? I say, well, I come to do a promotion. I tell myself I inside. He say, what you have in that bag? I say, well, promotional banners, this, that, everything that I have I listed out. He say, all right, open up. When he look, he say, this is car parts. Is there car parts? I said, no. As I explained to you before, as stated in my last email, this is promotional banners and sales, and this is the thing. And the biggest event happening tomorrow on Sandy Lane. I was like, this is on Sandy Lane tomorrow. This is for Digicel. That man said, no, that's car parts. What the hell? But I didn't realize that they had issues with Trinidadian car parts dealers or people from Barbados coming here to buy car parts and carrying it back home. I didn't know this was an issue. So the man says car parts, I had to take it out, pull up every banner, bill up the sales. I spent a couple hours in customs just showing him that it's not car parts. And they still charge me a pound and a crown on duties. I don't know what they classify it as, but I pay a good bit of money in duties. Of course, I didn't anticipate any of that in the invoice that we sent into the client. So I had to go back to the client now and tell them, all right, there are cost overruns, right? So again, these are some of the, and I talk about on an extremely simplistic level. This is just our company trying to make moves through the region. I have stories like that. Call me. I'll go tell you stories if you want to hear them. But when I saw Bounty Killer and them listed for a show in the Savannah Saturday night. Now, Bounty Killer, if you don't know, is my favorite dancehall artist, right? And I'm always tempted to go Bounty Killer. I always want to go a Bounty show, but my age, the way my back, my spinal cord, it's set up. I can't stand up for so long to watch no show again. So I sit down home and I tell Stacey, girl, we close now. We could drive by the Savannah. Even if I could go somewhere nearby and just listen from outside, I don't mind that. You know what I mean? I would like to see Bounty Killer. Last time I went Bounty Killer, so my boy Hinkson, we stand up in what the place named Gene Pier Complex. Still my back hurt. I'm tired. I want to lean up somewhere. I can't do much of that again. And I remember in that and how Bounty walk off and never finish the show then with Beanie Man. And that make me say, boy, let me go down the next thing to Bounty Killer in some kind of thing. Every time I go to see Bounty Killer, one time I go and he lock up. Next time I'm going to walk over the stage. So I say, boy, let me stay in my bed. My old self. Let youths go and enjoy themselves. Only to see on Instagram now, like Bounty Killer had one of the greatest performances he ever had. But not before we could see on Instagram where he talking about 9 hours in the airport and having to call his prime minister and his minister of what's Daryl Vass what he is international relation what is called the Ministry Legal Affairs, Daryl Vass, Jamaica. Let me see. I hope it's Daryl. Yeah, Daryl Vass. Minister. Was it Vass? He's saying Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport. Well, maybe it's the telecommunications part and the transport. But whatever it was, he had to call his MPs and them in Jamaica, or ministers or prime minister, to help him get clearance here and spend 9 hours in the airport. I want to say it's time for Trinidad to stop that. That is foolishness. It is counterintuitive. This notion that somebody have some conviction or somebody sing bad lyrics or whatever, because Bounty Killer was arrested here for obscene language before, inconsequential in my mind. Even Buju, who was arrested in the States and do his time and come out, was held up here for a long time, and then Guy Griffith are going to make a fool of himself on the stage, double D and double B and double G. You know what I mean? Making being a clown on the stage for no reason. I find it's time we get past them kind of things. It's time to get past that. It's embarrassing as a country for all that Bounty Killer has done for dancehall and reggae music, which if we're supposed to be regionalized and we're supposed to have a Caribbean single market economy, and we're supposed to be one as a, you know what I mean, and thinking about the advancement of the region, we must get to the point where we're not treating people like Bounty Killer like if they're extra regional or they come from somewhere else. They are of us. And when them men and them come, we supposed to be, as a society, as a government, rolling out the red carpet for our artists. And we should expect that when the Bungees, the Fayans, the Marshall, Aaron Duncan, whoever our artists are, we should expect that when we go to Jamaica or any other Caribbean island where we in this region called CSME, we should expect that they could walk in anywhere. So tell me something. We have politicians throughout the regions. Who throughout this whole region, we could give examples of politicians who have checkered pasts, right? Checkered past. Let me put it like that. High officials, business people who may have been arrested for this, that, or the other, who convict and come out, who do. I am sure that politicians make life easy for themselves when they come here for Chogam, whatever conferences it is, them men passing through easy. And if they ain't convicted, all of them should be convicted. Thieves, liars, you know what I mean? So how it is, we have what would be the pinnacle of entertainment in Jamaica. And he had to call the prime minister to help him get through. I think Trinidad, it's time to stop this thing, change up them things. And I don't like it, especially against the backdrop of people who not from the region walking in here and having an easier time. As a Trinidadian, it's so embarrassing. Sometimes you're on a long flight and you come home and you're watching people who in the visitors line in immigration, that line finishing fast, and you in a long, long line trying to scribble down a little thing on a piece of paper waiting for immigration to come home in your own country. I think what makes it doubly embarrassing is this headline where you see order of distinction to Bounty Killer and Beenie Man, recognized as kings in their own country. I have some difficulties with them things too, because I remember talking about this in the context, and we come into independence. Once Jamaica independence, come Trinidad independence around the corner. And I always have difficulty with the way we recognize our heroes and our stars. But I had to give Jamaica credit for giving those orders distinction. And we'll talk about what the order distinction is, but it was given to them. So headline, order distinctions for Bounty Killer, Beenie Man, Admiral Bailey, and Nadine Sutherland. Who we were saying Nadine, right? This from the Gleaner. 4 veteran artists will be inducted into the order distinction in the rank of officer. These are Moses Beenie Man Davis, Rodney Bounty Killer Price, Glendon Orville Admiral Bailey, and Nadine Sutherland. All are being honored for their contribution to Jamaican music, with Bounty Killer and Beenie Man being highlighted specifically for their contribution to dancehall music. Audrey Silver Reed and Dr. Curtis Watson round out the list. Reed for their contribution to film, and Dr. Watson for contribution to creative arts in musical and international performances. Salute to everybody else who win it, but I really come for this part about the Bounty Killer and Beenie Man. But I did see some pieces of the ceremony going viral online. Bounty Killer speech to accept his award, Beanie Man speech to accept his award. The fact that both of them accepted together, according to Bounty Killer, we done idols become rivals, and then we become idols. I find when you show up in Trinidad immigration, that's pretty much all you need to say for them to fly the gate and open it. And you know what's interesting? One of the things that happened with Bounty Killer in that show, another part of the show that went viral, was the fact that with all the music that Bounty Killer would have sing that they say was gangster music and we listened to over the years, to me, all of which he performed, he didn't hold back on the performances, down to singing at Billy Ocean like a ballad. Oh, it's not Hello. Hello is Stevie Wonder. What was his song? Suddenly. Bounty Killer come and give them a whole ballad gunman song, right? But just like Sizzler, we did see some weeks ago, Bounty Killer talking and appealing to the youths to change and stop killing one another. I'm sure that the same speeches they make when they perform in Jamaica, they could basically copy and paste that in Trinidad now because of the state of crime, badness, whatever you want to call it in Trinidad and Tobago. Some of it is you read the news and you see how bad it is. You see it every day. So for the foreign artists and them who used to be, we used to be talking about them with like if they thing and all this badness and the youths following them and so for them now to come back in their old age when they came around the dread and thing cut and them thing and they start to wear looser clothes and them thing they come back now started talking about our situation here. It's a sad thing to see, but we commend them for doing it. In terms of what the award means, right? Jamaica has just like us, an itemized list of the types of awards that it could get, right? So the Order of the National Hero should be the highest award that you could be given. And they say the Order of the National Hero is the most senior order. The honor of Order of the National Hero may be conferred upon any person who was born in Jamaica or is at the time of his death a citizen of Jamaica and rendered to Jamaica service of a most distinguished nature. Just a few people on this list, right? Nani, who you might know, the leader of the Maroons or leader of the Windward Maroons. Samuel Sharp, who they call leader of the Baptist Church in Montego Bay. George William Gordon, Paul Bogle, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Sir Bustamante, Sir Alexander Bustamante, and Norman Manley. That's the only people who would have received the Order of National Hero. They also have Order of the Nation. I believe is any Governor General or Prime Minister. I believe Portia Simpson Miller is on that list. That might be the most popular name we know on that list, is it? I want to go through all the names on the list, and boy, I just want you to know what the orders themselves are about. The Order of Excellence is ranked equally in the order of precedence with the Order of Nation and may be conferred upon any foreign head of state. So a foreigner could get this and is equivalent to the Order of the Nation. The Order of Merit is conferred up to any Jamaican citizen, any citizen of Jamaica or distinguished citizen of another country who has achieved eminent international distinction in the field of science, arts, literature, or any other endeavor. For some of the names on that you might know, some of the more popular names is this, the Order of Merit. Even the members of Order of Merit deceased would include people like Bob Marley. You might know the name Edna Manley, for instance, who would be the ones in performing arts and education. You might know somebody by the name of Professor Ralston Rex Milton Nettleford. If you went to UE, you're supposed to know that name, right? So they have several classes of the awards. They have the Order of Jamaica, and then came the Order of Distinction. So my argument is typically that we tend to be, and I talk about it a lot in Trinidad here, where the highest awards in the nation seem to be beyond the reach of the artist or the calypsonian, or in this case, dancehall or reggae artist. But I like the way Jamaica has their, like they split it out almost into categories. It's not just rank, but it's certain categories. So I believe based on the descriptions that I read here, the Order of Distinction is probably the highest award that they could get or would qualify for, other than the Order of Merit, and that would be for somebody who the key difference is that the Order of Merit seemed to be a longer list of people who would have gotten it posthumously, and their contribution is beyond just a genre of music or entertainment or one space. So when you look at Bob Marley being on that list, you could kind of understand where his global impact was felt as a Jamaican. But nonetheless, I don't want to bore you with that, but nonetheless, congratulations to them both. Congratulations to Admiral Bailey and Nadine Sutherland as well. Is a beautiful thing to see. And you know, it's so funny that this comes right as we're talking about Kitchener, who would be one of the people who wasn't too pleased with the award that they tried to offer him at the time and all that. You know what I mean? But again, back to my pan, you know, I had a play for you. If we went 75, right? We do 75 and 76, I believe, right? Pan and Harmony and tribute to Winston Spree. They have a next Kitchener here that I want to give you. Where what year was this? Pan Night and Day. I want to get into the 80s a little bit, right? Because I talk about the 80s a lot as being a golden era of calypso and soca music, right? And in looking at this, it's also a golden era for pan and panorama. When you look at the 80s, some of the greatest songs played in panorama come from that 80s era. I mean, some of the greatest songs come from that era, so it makes sense that some of the greatest pan songs come from there, right? But this is another version, or another song where Lord Kitchener take, I believe it was 1-2. This is in 1985, right? Which, if you throw back your mind to 85, for all the calypso people, you throw back your mind to 85 and some of the big songs at that time, this would be one by Renegades, arranged by Jit Samaru. And he also comes second to that one in 85 with Despa's playing Same Pan Night and Day, and arranged by Beverly Griffith. So we had to take in a slice of greatness, right? If we're talking awardees, we had to talk somebody who should be having the, what's the thing name? Order Distinction. What Trinidad own name? Trinity Cross? Can't remember, you know.
That never lasts like a jet. It starts and it ends so fast. Oh no, man, don't you run away. The whole world want to hear you play. Everybody want to hear more pan. What it is at all, we just can't understand. I'm just about to say I'm really bothered. Why do they have to play for such short period? Every night, every day, we want to hear this Steelband play. We want you for all the time, not just for Juve. Every year, every night and jamming down the place. They swing, they whine and they sway. Everybody bumping and shaking their waist. 10:30, the pan seem to disappear. Until then, you hope to see them next year. I say, you cannot do that to we. We want you, but permanently. Everybody want to hear more pan. What it is at all we just can't understand. I'm just about to say I'm really bothered. Why do they have to play for such short period?
Every night, every day, people want to hear the Steelband play.
We want you for all the time, not just for Juve.
Mama, let me hear it.
And listen, the pan, the history of pan and in celebrating World Pan Day, you must know some of the struggles that pan went through, right? So when you look through your list of panorama winners over the years, one of the things you'll notice is that in 1979, the list simply says no panorama, right? No panorama in 79. And the reason for that was the struggles of pan, and they had decided that, listen, we're going to, you know, the deals with administration. We see it with Angus in the football. We can't get that together. We go talk about the Olympics and a little bit. Administration can't get that together. Governance is a problem. Community governance and governance is an issue. We seem to have real issues with administration in this country. So due to the administration and some of the things that the Pan Man was struggling with, all the bands came together and decided that they were standing down. They were not coming out and have no panorama. So the panorama competition, nothing. Mass parade of the bands, nothing. Because 79 at that time, we parade of the bands, it would not be rent a amp on them fellas, you're depending on pan side. So when you're playing your mass, nobody got some playing no sort of mass and his DJ playing whole day and band playing on the road, man, come to hear steel pan. So imagine if you come down here, you know what I mean? You come for carnival and you're custom here and where you have to play. You sit down in the savannah to hear pan play and you hear no pan. All you're hearing is DJ and you're hearing brass band pass. So in 79, no panorama at all. You want to hear the song that come out of that in 1980 and why 1980 is one of the greatest era for pan?
Spectators leave the stand and just run out to the band while she play. The crowd shout and say,
we want the woman on the bass. We want the woman on the bass. We want the woman on the bass.
How she beat it?
on she belly, beating a sweet, sweet melody on the stage. The crowd went rampage.
We want the woman and the bass. We want the woman and the bass. We want the woman and the bass.
She beaten. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
You had to be a genius when you're singing a song like that, right? And the opening line in the song is ay, ay, ay. people wailing, you know. So that song again is about the protest in 79 where Despers was the only band. Listen, the song good. So that would have been, again, Golden Era Panorama, 1980, played by Trinidad World Stars. But his song is hailing Desperados, who comes second in that same 1980 with Kitchener played that Kitchener again that song by the name of No Pan. And as we talking No Pan, only want to deal with the Olympics one time. Nothing. Headline says medalless. Olympic Committee President says change needed after Team TTO, home country, comes home empty-handed. Now, whatever funny about this, right? I also saw Ato Bolden doing an interview talking about Jamaica and their Olympic team and talking about the fact that Jamaica have an underwhelming Olympics and less gold medals from where they expected it from, less medal count overall. And people are going to get fired, right? This is an outsider saying heads will roll in the Jamaican Olympic, whatever you call them, JAAAs or whosoever, send up a team. And the athletes in our support, I see one girl who doing shot put come out and say, here what's going on. My coach ain't allowed to come here and I'm a coach. And one of the men from the J3As went on an interview and say, what means a baby? You need a coach? A big woman like you need a coach in the stadium? You don't know what you're supposed to go there and do? According to Ato, heads going to roll. But in this case, we have the Olympic Committee president not saying that I should resign. I'm looking at my position. I'm considering my options right now. So we come home empty-handed. Not saying that this is second straight Olympics we come home empty-handed. He's saying changes are needed. I like it a lot. He said it ended as a medal-less showing for Trinidad and Tobago in back-to-back Olympic campaigns. At Paris 2024, Team TTO repeated its Tokyo 2020 performance. Keep in mind, too, that 2016, all we get are bronze from Keshon. 2 back-to-back. Before Ato Bolden's double sprint bronze at Atlanta 1996, TNT endured a 2-decade drought following Hazley Crawford's historic 100-meter gold at Montreal 1976. I want y'all to keep that in mind, right? Keep this in mind. 76 is the last time he win it. All like me, Sue, who born in 80, and most of the people who listening here who born around that time. It mean we ain't see our Olympics, our medal, for about 4 or 5 Olympics, we miss out, and you know what I mean, until you could see another medal at all, and that was Ato coming with a bronze, I believe, in the 100 and 200. There are concerns in some quarters that the current no medal trend could develop into another drought, another 20 years of famine. TTOC President Diane Henderson told the Express yesterday, what I would like to say concerning LA is there's a lot of things that need to be done. And that's not from one institution. Sporting organizations have to take a deep review of what they're doing and what they're not doing. Are they really doing anything differently to change or to really develop our young base of athletes? Do we have to ask these questions? Or can we watch the results? She said athletes with Olympic aspirations need to be supported on that journey by the powers that be. The inspiration that they need moving forward and making decisions to actually choose elite sport as a choice for their lives. We really have to make some changes. You're still saying we. We, the TTOC, still saying we. We, the TTOC, can encourage and as far as possible do whatever we can see. We can to see changes happen. We hope we can get that done as our contribution. What's your name again? Mary? Diane. You're not getting it done. I'm not sure if you need that. Maybe you need 20 years to see that, but at this point in time, it's not getting done. We'll have conversations in terms of making some changes because you having these conversations. Let me salute Diane. Diane, your belly like a calabash. We will have the conversations in terms of making some changes because there are things that have to change in order for Trinidad and Tobago to move forward where sport is concerned. There are changes in every period, every quadrennial, in athletes, in systems, and yes, man, Diane, you're good. She also challenged the national governing bodies to change the script in the build-up to the 2028 Olympics in LA. You expect to be there in LA? Praise for Keshon. Jareem the Dream Richards was the most successful Trinidad and Tobago athlete at Paris 2024. The .14 athlete finishing 4th in the men's 400 meters in a national record of 43.78, just missing out on a bronze. We saw that. We were all pained by that, right? Salute to Jareem. Henderson was in high. All right, Henderson. We see what going on with you, Henderson. Henderson, You see, like what you had to do from when you win a goal, right? And it's time, you have the podium after the anthem play. You know what they do? Is step down. It's a simple procedure. Simple. You need for all these set of words and to come off the podium. You do good. Thanks for your service and all them kind of things. But I think we needed some adjustments. We need some adjustments in the entire process of the administrative process. Let me not even go to choosing athletes who to go and what to do and all the things. In the I want to read from somebody who I haven't heard from or seen or talk about on this podcast for a long time, who I always talk about as being one of the best and brightest minds we have here, but also one of the most cynical. This is from the Daily Express by none other than Fazeer Mohammed, right? 2 consecutive Summer Olympic Games and no medals. That is the bottom line for Trinidad and Tobago in the immediate aftermath of the Paris 2024. How do we put that stark reality into context? Was it bad luck from Dylan Carter not feeling the feeling in the swimming pool? To 2012 gold medalist Keshawn Walcott feeling a hamstring twinge at the second throw of the javelin final? Or Rennie Cole losing a shoe in the first leg? That man lost his shoe in the boy. Salute Rennie Cole. Me hear about Rennie Cole in a while, but Rennie Cole come and I see something had to be wrong. The man was well behind the paces at 1 foot. Salute to him. He still run through and hand over the battle. You can imagine how shocked you was when all you practice so hard and you realize, but what happened to this man? This man last when he come as 1 foot of shoes the man have on. So Kwesi Brown crashing and hitting his head on the velodrome floor. Salute to him. I hear he alright to say he good, right? Of course, the Jareem running blind out in lane 9 in the 400-meter final and producing his fastest time ever, a national record to boot, but finishing 400ths of a second away from a bronze medal. A performance that would have probably see a medal in any other Olympics. Let's say Jareem's case that he got the bronze, would a single third place finish change our perspective on the Paris Games? Of course it would, because that's what the games are about, winning medals and all the joy and the celebration and roar of a packed house that goes with it. Yes, it's also about participation and representation, and if ours was a country with no track record of earning a medal, maybe this is something we have to revisit, right? We seem to think that we are a country with a track record of having medals because we have a few medals over the years. But if you look into them medals, Netflix is do these deep dive type documentaries. A lot of these medals we have is really individual performance by brilliant people and have very little to do with anything that we do as a country so great to raise champions and stuff. I'm just saying, right? In the 19 editions of the Games, since our first participation in Trinidad and Tobago in 1948, we completed a new flag of the West Indies Federation. Maybe we should go back to that. In Rome in 1960. And our team returned with something tangible 10 times, peaking in 2012 with a gold, a silver, and 2 bronzes. Of greater relevance in the context of this attempt at perspective, medals at consecutive games from 1996 to 2016 has now been followed by 2 unsuccessful ventures. And just for those who want to play lawyer and waste time in a space debating what constitutes a successful games experience, the benchmark as stated before is medals. Full stop. You could hear Fazeer saying that. So to summarize what Fazeer trying to say, right, is that it's not enough to go to our games and talk about participation and near misses and so on. A benchmark had to be set for what is success. And if that is medals, I like the idea. He went on to talk about St. Lucia, Dominica, Grenada, and getting gold medals. Salute to them, or medals, or medaling in the Olympics without us. The dry currents rolling self, and we're behind now. So he goes on to say, where do we begin? The competitors and their readiness or lack thereof for the highest level of competition? How about the different sporting administrations and the umbrella Olympic Committee in facilitating athlete preparation? Is it the funding? Did the final results meet, exceed, or fall short of the expectation of the TTOC? I don't know if they set a target. Like, do we, as the TTOC, come out and say, all right, our expectation here is 15 medals or 5 medals or 8 medals or whatsoever it might be, and then measure themselves by that and then decide if they will just step down? Maybe the real issue is whether or not we engage in these discussions in an analytical, dispassionate manner and then act based on reliable data, or like West Indies cricket. All you know for Fazeer is getting it, right? But I do like the direction Fazeer is going in. It's not one of his most hard-hitting articles ever, because when I saw it and I see his Fazeer, I say, oh Lord, Fazeer going to call for heads to roll. But I think he was very measured in the way he approached this article. And one of the things he's trying to say basically is that if we don't set out what it is we want to do and put the plan in place to get there and constantly revisit the plan when we either not get there or we get there or we overshoot it. It's like, strat planning thing, you want to get to this level, you say, well, all right, I feel this will get us there. You go there and you reassess it. If we don't do that, we headed basically to another 20-year drought. I hope that's not the case. I think in LA, one of the things in this Olympics is that we have some youths. We are twins on them, you know what I mean? We have some young people coming up in the mix in the track. And I always wonder, I always wonder, should we be focusing on getting more, make up stuff? Just make up stuff. Because if they could get break dancing in the mix, I'm not seeing what's stopping us from getting our own sport. So salute, I say understand that in the LA Olympics, T20 cricket will be there. So they better play nice with Sunil Narayan and Karen Pollard and Bravo and everybody who we need to take us that T20 Olympic gold medal in 2020, how much ever it is, 2028. Let's play nice with these fellas and let them carry home. But we have what it takes to be able to get there, to get there in a T20 Olympic games. I mean, we must be able to compete there and come with a medal. But if them fellas could put breakdancing, we have other things, you know what I mean? We had to start looking into our own sports and the things we do here and see if we could make them into Olympic medals. Like for instance, beat Pan, you know what I mean? If we could beat a little Pan ourselves, I think we could make that into, you know what I mean? Do like Annie Lopez, the woman on the bass, and see if that jumping around playing a bass pan can become a Olympic sport and see if we could win something there. But we back to Kitchener, we back to Kitchener and we back to major. I will come off of Kitchener at some point, but it's just so many to go through. And in the context of the Olympics, it's only fair that we play this one.
Wine, Trini rarely had a ball. It is still on their mind. The Olympic in Montreal. Should in case you are not so sure and wonder what they are dancing for. Hazley Crawford just win the goal to put Trinidad on top the world. Who make me squeal as he captured the goal?
Hazley Crawford is the man.
Who make me feel right on top of the world?
Hazley Crawford is the man.
Juve morning, we all will be celebrating. Let's get moving, I want you to
jump as a man, show that you got.
So give him the keys to the whole of the land.
Hazley Crawford is the people man.
The day of the race, brother, you talk about speed. It was pace, mama pace, old man fighting for the lead. In the inner lane of the track, I can see the colors red, white and black. As they scamper down past the post, Don Query second and Crawford first. Who make me squeal as he kept the goal?
Hazley Crawford is the man.
Who make me feel right on top of the world?
Hazley Crawford is the man.
Juve morning, we all will be celebrating. Let's get moving, I want you to
jump as a man, show that you got.
So give him the keys to the whole of the land.
Hazley Crawford is the people man.
a day of upset. Favorites couldn't shine. Ainsley moved like a jet and had them trailing far behind, while the Yankees were shouting plans, hoping that he may have advanced. Our Crawford done win the race with the Russian beaten in third place. Who make me squeal as he kept at the pole? Ainsley Crawford is the man. Who make me feel right on top of the world? Ainsley Crawford is the man. Juve morning, we all will be celebrating. Let's get moving. I want to jump as a man. So give him the keys to the whole of the land. Ainsley Crawford is the people man.
Hopefully by 2028 we have somebody who we could make some song about. But again, salute to all the Olympians. Salute to Paris. Paris is a mess. They should not host anything. These people don't want to host people. Anybody who been to France before, the people who in France now could tell you all the stories. I've never been there, but you hear stories from people all the time about them not being the most welcoming people they had, and you had to accept their culture for them to start to accept you and so on. And so we know all the stories about France, right? On the colonial history and the past and so on. But salute to them. I like how the closing ceremony had a handover to LA. I like how that looked. And Snoop Dogg and them. Rumor have it that Snoop Dogg get $500,000 a day to prance around and be a part of the Olympics. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Legends, legendary, right? Politics. We want to talk about politics. We want to talk about Trump and Kamala and Biden and Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders said recently politics supposed to be boring. All this sort of excitement. I see Trump, right? I'm not talking about Trump, right? It's really Rowley and Venezuela I'll come to talk about. But I did see Trump go on Aidan Ross show. If you know Aidan Ross, are one of the biggest streamers they have, right? And Trump and them go on and do dance something. And I hear a little clip playing recently with a guy, one of them young fellas, to asking Aidan Ross like why he liked Trump. And the first set of things he pointed out was things that Trump is directly opposed to, which shows that these youths know nothing about politics. They're not paying attention to it. What them like is vibes and views and them kind of thing. And Trump have a more vibesy and viewsy kind of way about him. And it's sad that is what politics come into. I always put my faith in youths. I always trend towards youth. Whatever youths into, I feel that is why I should be focused on. But I think we learn these youths make decisions about their own future. As adults, we might need to step in a little bit, right? I'm not saying who we should vote for and all them kind of things, but at least if you're going to support, if you have a huge platform and you're going to lend your support to a political leader, at minimum, you should know his policies, right? I'm not saying don't vote for Trump or don't vote for Kamala, but at least understand the man policies who you're going for now. Don't just make it about Trump dance and who get thing and bullet by the ears and all them kind of thing. In the politics right close to home, headline says, Rowley stays neutral on Venezuela election impasse. I would like to thank Dr. Keith Christopher Augustus Moving Manning Rowley for his measured and very boring ways. You know what I mean? According to Bernie Sanders, politics should be boring. And Rowley, when you're ready, good boring. And that is some of what we need, right? So, reading from Ryan Bechu in the Guardian here, it says the cabinet will not be taking a position on the Venezuela election result, nor will Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley make any pronouncements on it. Speaking at a PNM function on Friday evening, Rowley made TNT's stance clear, saying, there are people in Trinidad who have come from Venezuela because they didn't like the last result, and I'm not surprised that they are still here. But what we have to be careful with is that we don't take advice from people whose agenda and interests are not the same as TNT. We would maintain our position until there's a reason to change it. He added, the last time we had to go to the UN and speak to the Secretary General, I don't know if the same thing will happen again this time, but what is happening is that we are not without some interest in what goes on in Venezuela. But whatever role we have to play, we'll play it in the context of our understanding of and confirmation of the rules and regulations that govern people's internal elections. Thousands of people rallied in the streets of Venezuela capital on Saturday, waving the flag and singing the national anthem in support of the opposition candidate they believe won last Saturday's presidential election by a landslide. So, if you're not up to date on it, Maduro is a man in charge, right? And when you see he in charge, when he talk, no dog bark, kind of in charge, right? You know them kind of thing? And they had an election, which... I don't know how much faith all they had in Venezuelan elections over the years, but I don't know. But he had a very strong opposition this time, which many people were saying, at least from the ground, you hear any word that this is going to be the unseating of Maduro. Maduro, of course, claimed that, listen, free and fair elections, and if he think he'll step aside. But he lost. He win. He lost. Well, he win, but they say he lost. They say clearly the woman had a whole lot more support. So that Edmundo Gonzalez had a whole lot more support. And Maduro would obviously lost the election. But Maduro announced himself as the winner. They say prematurely too. Voting done, County say I win. You remember trend like that? When you teach little trend games, they try to teach them Romeo and things. They put on the guy and say I win. That's what Maduro do. And the scenes out of Venezuela are a little scary. Like when you see collapse of an economy like that, where people basically throwing away money in the street, the money and no more value, going back to a system of some kind of battle. And once you see societies start to, I was going to use the word like regress. Like once you see societies start to step back from the rule of law and the rules of basic economics. As a matter of fact, the rules of basic economics don't ever change, whether it have a dollar in place or not. But once that agreement that is law falls, violence is what tends to, who the more mighty is who is in control of who eats and who don't eat and who live and who don't live. And I don't know that the more physically mighty should be the people, or they're not always the best people to do that. So it's something that we have to pay very, very close attention to in Trinidad and Tobago. I am happy that we have a government in place that is measured enough to not go out there and say anything too wild on these matters, because that is a sovereign country and they have to sort out their own issues. And what you say in situations like these could affect whether it is Maduro or the next one named Gonzalez, whoever it is, whoever end up in power eventually will remember the statements that are made in times like these. And you see, it's like getting in husband and wife business. They say don't push him out in husband and wife business, because when two of them fall out and she put him out and he gone and thing and he left to a man and he come back and when them get back together now and them hug up, is you the same, but you see Corey move the boy, Corey call and all of a sudden you get extricated, you on the outside. So I'm happy to have a prime minister that measured enough to do that, because a big part of our future in terms of oil and gas and so on depends on how we play with Venezuela and how we play with a fella in the United States of America. And whether that fella in the United States of America be Donald Trump or the lady in Kamala Harris, or is Maduro, or is Gonzalez, or the next one name, Maria Corina Machado, whichever one of them end up in power in any one of them two countries, is a dance we doing in between there. We always doing a dance, and we, I'm not sure if mediator is the right word, but we certainly in the middle of them. And I do like the fact that the boss, the man in charge, the rollers himself, you know what I mean? He have a very measured approach to the way he's dealing with these things. And he ensures that he does not put us in, at least in the international space, right? You could... There's a lot that I typically say about him and things that I don't like at all, but I want to highlight this, and I try to be fair in the way I approach the critique, especially with people who have very difficult jobs like the Prime Minister. It's not an easy space, and there's a lot that he does domestically that I wonder why he don't just relax sometimes. But when he knows to be quiet and relax, nobody don't do it as good as him. And in the spirit of that, you see, the Trinidadians have some sayings, right, that you really can't go wrong with, So one of them sayings is, when you're on top, wine. You ever heard that saying, when you're on top, wine? Sometimes bottom of wine too, pause. But you see, when you're in the middle, You must always keep this in mind, right?
Oh, yeah.
I want somebody to share their oil money. Listen, I have no idea how much time passed at this point in time, right? I'm a little bit in the dark. I'll have to forgive me as I get better with technology. We will fix all these things. And with Conrad, boy, with the affordable imports, man, we go fix all these things. But I want to play a few more before I get out of here. I have a whole thing planned out to talk about Dutch disease, right? I don't know if there's something people know about or interested in, but at some point I will talk about it. But every time I reach where I feel is close to cut-off time, I remember in this Dutch disease topic. So I'll keep me honest about that, right? I want to play two more from the 80s, like pan songs, right? So that's Baron Somebody, right? Well, you know Baron? You know the person? Did I give you the year for the Baron? That is 1989. I want to stick in the 80s and get two more songs that win Panorama. Two of them by the same man. One of them being my favorite. My favorite is in 83. So let me play the one from 81 for you first. Now I could start with that.
pass through the savannah. In sweet pan, oh Lord, last year panorama. Unrecognized because of their size. But boy, the tune they beat, it was much too sweet. Boy, people jump till they sweat, but they gasping for breath. They was waving their hand inside the band. But if you see how much woman without man jumping to this unknown sweet band, not playing power, power to the whole savannah. Power, power, only few recover. Man, I hear Dunlop saying they want when they come in town to break it down. Alright.
When you're talking about national award, right? The percussion man in this song deserved the order of merit.
Inquiries was made by CDC, asking the band, oh Lord, who sang this melody? Captain Fitzroy, them told them blue boy. So the band got thrown out for that long song. But people jump till they sweat, and they gasping for breath. They was waving their hand inside the band. But if you see how much woman without man jumping to this unknown sweet band, not playing power, power to the whole savannah. Power, power, only few recover. Man, I hear Dunlop saying they want when they come in town to break it down. Alright. Lela lo my, lela lo my, Shabby Road, say Dunlop tornadoes. Last year they should be, oh Lord, lashing with Cotelli. If they had reached Queen's Park Savannah, they would have not stand catching the power. Cause people jump till they sweat, but they gasping for breath. They was waving their hand inside the band. And if you see how much woman without man jumping to this unknown sweet band, not playing power, power to the whole savannah. Power, power, only few recover. Man, I hear Dunlop saying they want when they come in town to break it down. Alright.
Power in the whole savannah. I could get our next one from that same man from 1983.
While jumping up in a band, I end up in confusion. Oh, the band was at Green Corner. Hey, I jumping with Rebecca. Hey, I ain't sure if it's all the thing really happened. Oh, because my head was so bad. But Rebecca was away all the shirt button hold on, and she started to whine like she mad. Falling falling down, on the ground, jumping up, stop. But she was dancing around in a circle. Oh Lord, I tell you, Rebecca drink me thing, Rebecca smoke me thing, Rebecca sniff me thing, Rebecca high man. She was dancing around in a circle. Oh Lord, she was high, high, high. kick. Like the girl possessed with music. Hey. Rasta soca carnival Tuesday, soca jamming, a whining but decently. Trying my best to avoid people watching, oh boy, what Rebecca hold on to me. With his falling down, on the ground, jumping up, stop. But she was dancing around in a circle, hold on. Rebecca drink the tea, Rebecca smoke the tea, Rebecca sniff the tea, Rebecca high. And she was dancing around in a circle, hold on. She was high.
You was high. Me leave the 80s yet, no?
Somewhere up in Laventille, many years ago, a man had a hammer, used to follow him to and fro. He used to use it upon a pan, or sometimes a stupid man, all in the savannah, never miss panorama. One day the old hammer just disappeared. Oh, some say that it vanished into thin air. Away the man with the hammer gone. Tell me where he gone. Anybody know where the hammer gone? Tell me where he gone. Can you tell me what's going on? Tell me where he gone. I want to know where the hammer gone. Tell me where he gone. Why you up on leave? Why you make me grieve? Hammer tell me flat. Why you do with that? Oh Lord. Well the dragon don't walk the trail no more. Well the dragon don't walk the trail no more. From April of 85, Hammer went to sleep. After years of making noise, not even a peep. He used to move with the dragon man, all through the soca land. Always on the scene, they used to control the Baba Green. Well, the dragon don't walk the trail no more. Who holding the hammer, I want to know. How is the man with the hammer gone? Tell me where he gone. Thunderbolt Williams, what's going on? Tell me where he gone. This thing like a police boots on me con. Tell me where he gone. I know I heard by why the lima on pond. Tell me where he gone. Children, search under your bed. All above your head. Look behind the door. What you waiting for? Oh Lord. Well, the dragon don't walk the trail no more. No more. Well, the dragon don't walk the trail no more.
I don't tell you, right? Guys, 1986, arranged by the great Leon Smooth Edwards. Coming right back after that, 87 and 88, both done by Denise Plummer / Len Bugsy Sharp. This feeling nice, ta-da, like fire and ice, and this feeling nice, like sugar and spice, and the music gets inside you, grip you like a vice. It's feeling nice. Followed by 88, Woman is Boss. Before I wrap up this episode, and I'm closing off this episode on this one, right? I want to break the tradition of the thing. Because every other song I play in this episode is a winning song from a panorama over the years. But it's up-to-date years. Back in the 63, we went through plenty. Kitchener always dominates a thing like this. Honorable mentions, man, and it's hard to say honorable mentions. So, Kitchener just so far ahead of everybody else in this space that you always had to mention the Blue Boys, the David Rudders, the Sparrows, men who in the space, the Scrunters, some of the men who are the biggest, right? Dennis Plummer, the mighty Trinity. It's plenty men on the list. But I have to play for you to show you how bad the 80s was, right? I want to leave this episode on a song that come second in the 80s. Again, arranged by Leon Smooth Edwards. Coming second to Renegades, beating Sweet Pan by Lord Kitchener. You want to hear how bad the 80s really was? If this is second,
the fat was crowded and she was tight. While I was grounded, she high in flight. White World Steelband, blazing and jam. She turn, she bam, bam, big gun, me fan. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, girl, don't do that. Don't back, back on me, don't back, back. Don't back, back on me, don't back, back. Dancing with you, man, you only jamming down me pan with your bam bam. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, yeah, don't do that. Don't back, back on me, don't back, back. Don't back, back on me, don't back, back. You look so pretty, really sexy. Boom boom look so healthy, jamming on me purposely. Darling, don't do that to me. If she was serious, I won't complain. But is mischievous, this thing she bring. Deliberating, blowing my mind. The more I want she, the more she whine. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, girl, don't do that. Don't back, back on me, don't back, back. Don't back, back on me, don't back, back. Dancing with you, man, you only jamming down the pan with your bam bam. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, yeah, don't do that. Don't back, back on me, don't back, back. Don't back, back on me, don't back, back. You look so pretty, really sexy. Boom boom look so healthy, jamming on me purposely. Darling, don't do that to me. Jam jam with no more space. So on she bam bam, I had to brace. So when she entered, the band she fall. I jam she center against a wall. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, yeah, don't do that. Don't back, back on me, don't back, back. Don't back, back on me, don't back, back. Dancing with you, man. Jamming down me pan with your bam bam.
Don't do that.
Hey, only enjoy the weekend. They say all kind of yellow alert, flood in town, tropical storm. What you name on Nesto? Let's stay safe and stay dry. Have a productive week, and I will see you all right back in his zone next week.